The following is a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.
Welcome back to Bite by Bite. I'm Tony Kurre, along with the CEO of the Heart of Alabama Food Bank. He is Michael Coleman. We do a show called Mission Minded, which is really a business show. If you just were listening to our last episode, fantastic questions. Info at TonyKurreRadio.net. We don't really take too many infos on this particular show because we like to talk about feeding America and the Heart of Alabama Food Bank. But we do like to talk college football. We're week 9 into college football, and a big part of that now is the NIL, name, image, and likeness. And you kind of have a little bit of a crossover situation with the Heart of Alabama Food Bank. Do tell, man. I'm interested. This is good.
Yeah. So when I'm in, when you're in the space, you see the sometimes the worst of humanity, but you see the best of humanity. And those kind of things, I tell you, it really just rejuvenates me. So we got this email. I think they call them managers, but in essence, the agents of. So we have a small little community in Highland Home where there's a football player signed and is now a freshman or sophomore at Auburn, and his little brother just signed, who went the same school. And this is a rural little community down in Crenshaw County. It's one of our areas that we cover. And they reached out to us and said, hey, these two brothers want to do a turkey giveaway to those in need in their community. Wow. And they want to use in part their NIL money to cover any cost. And, if you just sit back just for a second. So these are two African-American gentlemen. And I do not think they came from money. I do not know their full circumstances, but it just speaks to the quality of so many people because, look, I follow sports. NIL has totally changed the landscape of sports. Some good, some not so good. And a lot of people would say to the detriment that they think it's going to ultimately be the downfall. The money, the pursuit of money, buying players, all that kind of stuff. So in the midst of all of that, we can get very negative. But what you see here is somebody who has left and says, all right, now I've stepped into some money, and I really don't know how much NIL money they get. It doesn't matter. Yeah. But more money than they ever would have expected before, before NIL. And so they're coming through and they're like, hey, we're flush with cash. And they could be out riding in brand new, sports cars and have huge diamond earrings. And it just speaks to the quality of these young men when they said together, we want to give back to our community. And it encourages me because sometimes when I have to deal with negative things and just not negative people necessarily, but the circumstances of poverty and the circumstances of people who are hungry and trying to get, and you feel like sometimes, man, we don't get enough donations, man, we don't have enough help. And it can be, at times it can be discouraging.
Sure.
When you see young men who are recognized, hey, we're in a situation where right now at this second, I have no idea what their professional outlook's going to be. But they said not only do they want to do it this year, but they want it to be they're making an annual commitment to us.
Wow, that's great.
To be able to do this. And who knows, they may go on to stardom, in the NFL. But sometimes you just see acts of humanity that restore hope. And like I said, to them, they're probably just good dudes, and they're not doing it for the publicity. They're not doing it for recognition and all that kind of stuff or tons of pats on the back. But for us who are in it every day and see so many people who act selfishly and don't care about the poor and all that, to see them just we didn't reach out to them. They instigated it. They contacted us. We didn't even have any perspective that, and It just brightened my week, and there's good people out there doing good things, and we're thankful for them.
Sounds like they might have a good mama, a good daddy.
Yeah. I mean, these are definitely people that their first thing, and just as an overall statement, I think there's way more just good in the world in terms of individuals who have who have excess at the end of the month.
Yeah.
And their first thing is not, how can I go blow it on me? They say, I care about my neighbor, or I care about that. And some of the most sacrificial gifts, you could just go back to scripture and see the most sacrificial gift was the famous story of the widow and the two mites.
Mm-hmm.
The last two things she has, she gives to God to honor him, almost with a trust that it's okay. If I give this, he's going to take care of me. She may not have known how. And so here's this perspective through God's eyes of looking at that. And he goes, oh, she's given more than anybody. Of course, you have these rich people coming in and giving tons of money. And I'm sure that was needed and appreciated. But he's talking about the level of sacrifice, and it really speaks to the condition of each of our hearts. I don't want to go too far off on this tangent, but it speaks to the person and who you are on the inside, or at least it can speak to that. It doesn't necessarily define you, but it can speak to that. So I've never met these young men, but like you said, it tells me something about them. They have a good family. They care about their community. And it speaks well for Auburn. Even though I'm an Alabama fan, I'll say.
I was going to say, it almost makes me want to root for Auburn.
I know. It's a strange feeling. It's a little nauseating. No, I'm just kidding. But what we're not going to announce it up front, because we feel like people will come from other counties, and the people of Highland Home, who it's for, will not be properly served. But we're going to blow up the social media afterwards.
Wonderful.
And really promote these men, not so that they get the glory, but so that people can see, because they're usually demonized, and so now we want to say, well, look, here's people who are taking excess money and doing great things for the community, and hopefully it encourages other people to follow right in their path.
Great stuff. This is Bite by Bite.
This has been a special presentation of Tony Kurre Radio.